देयर वाज पीयूष मिश्रा, उनकी एक शायरी है, तो एक स्टेटमेंट ये है, शायरी तो बड़ा वर्ड हो गया, हल्की फुल्की सी है जिंदगी, बोझ तो बस ख्वाहिशों का। तो सब चीजें चाहिए तो मतलब अच्छा तो क्यों नहीं लगता, सबको लग सकता है ना। हु डजंट वांट टू हैव अ लाइक गो इन अ फैंसी रेस्टोरेंट, ट्रैवल बिजनेस क्लास कर लो, सारी महंगे गैजेट्स ले लो, सबको अच्छा लगता है। पता नहीं अच्छा लगता होता है कि दूसरे के हाथ में देख के अफसोस होता है कि मेरे पास नहीं है। इफ यू डोंट लाइक योर जॉब, योर करियर प्रोग्रेशन कैन नॉट हैपन एट अ ग्रेट लेवल। पसंद ही नहीं है तो आप नहीं कर सकते। मेरे 10 साल में एक प्रमोशन नहीं है, 10 साल में एक प्रमोशन नहीं है, क्योंकि प्रमोशन तो होगा नहीं ना, आप करते नहीं हो अच्छा।
You have quit your job, your wife is still working. A lot of people in the comments will come and say, wife तो अभी भी काम कर रही है, इसने रिटायरमेंट ले ली है, ये कैसा अर्ली रिटायरमेंट हुआ? What is your take on this? Welcome to the Parana Money podcast again. And today we have Aditya Maheshwari with us. He has been able to achieve his early retirement just at the age of 36. Hi Aditya, welcome to the show. In the start, if you can just, introduce yourself.
So I belong to Ajmer, Rajasthan. I did my schooling from there. Post that, I did my BTech from University of Pune. I did it in computer science. Then I did my MBA from IMT Ghaziabad. And post that, I started my career with Axis, then Citi, and then Pyramid Housing Finance. This has been my corporate stint with us. And that's post last 2 years. I have been at home dad, retired.
When did the idea of FIRE came to you?
This would have happened around 2019. That calculations came into picture. I'll say my job was so bad that I just need to think of my job. वो तो नहीं कर सकते.
Right.
वो नहीं कर सकते. तो for me, like a primary reason was having a bad job. If you have a good job, yes, it's good. You continue working. That's all great.
Right.
Because somebody had to take that call across के मतलब वही वाली बात है, बीमार छोड़ने से तो अच्छा फिट छोड़ दो. And उनको सबसे मतलब the whole aspect of earning is like to have like पैसे होने चाहिए आपके पास. तो we thought across, we and wife across that this is not what I want to do. It was taking a toll on mental health, physical health, everything. It was taking a toll on all those things. So then finally what we decided was that how much is a basic amount which we need to have a decent life which we want to live across. We came to a quantum of amount that this is what we need, because then there would be no expense of rent, no office commute. These expenses would cease as and when if we thought of retiring across. My wife, she loves her job.
Right.
So till the time, I can always like, it was this amongst us, it was an understanding. I'll not say nothing decided across that if I don't like and if it takes a health toll on me, I can quit as and when I want. But I would quit when we both have an option that if she wants to join in the early retirement that very day, we should have that quantum of money with us.
Right.
If she wants to continue because she likes to work, she would continue working. That was the initial thought across.
You did not like your job at all, like what you were doing, right? But you still did it for 10 years.
I do believe that if you don't like your job, your career progression cannot happen at a great level. पसंद ही नहीं है तो आप नहीं कर सकते. Probably I didn't had the guts to quit at an early stage and explore something else. अगर आपको initially मौका मिलता है, yes, you should explore things. You should not wait for that thing. But अगर नहीं मिलता है तो फिर if you are stuck somewhere, you'll have to swim. तैरना तो आता है, तो बस तैरते रहो. Someday you will find that shore across with you. So I'm saying that promotions. मेरे 10 साल में एक प्रमोशन नहीं है, तो 10 साल में एक प्रमोशन नहीं है, क्योंकि प्रमोशन तो होगा नहीं ना, आप करते नहीं हो अच्छा.
You have quit your job, your wife is still working. A lot of people in the comments will come and say, wife तो अभी भी काम कर रही है, इसने रिटायरमेंट ले ली है, ये कैसा अर्ली रिटायरमेंट हुआ? What is your take on this?
It's more like ingrained into the older generations. The younger kids are more so fine, because the younger cousins which I have, they are more so okay about that के जो सूट होता है जिसको वो ऐसा कर ले. But yes, these notions definitely come into picture. But for us, it is also was very clear that our FIRE number, which we have achieved, is for both of us. Yes. But if someone likes to work, who am I to stop him or her from working or continue? So FI is utmost important. Like, we have achieved our financial independence. Retire early was for me, not for her. She wants to continue. She is continuing her job. I cannot force my decision to her that since I have left my job, you also leave your job.
And I think that's a great thing to look at this also, that's you being supportive as a partner to her also, like respecting her wishes, that कि ऐसा नहीं है कि यार मैं काम नहीं कर रहा था तुम भी नहीं करोगे, हमने तो
वो है. प्लस इंडिया में रिवर्स होता है, तो people are more than probably nobody questions also if whether we go into philosophically saying that फिर कैसी equality. But yes, वो तो वैसे भी आप बात ही करते हो सिर्फ equality की, फिर equality हुई भी नहीं, तो that is fine for us. And we both as a couple are understanding enough that मैंने छोड़ा, it doesn't impact our relationship.
Right.
मैंने छोड़ा है, वो कर रही है because उसको पसंद है.
If I see it, it's actually a very beautiful story, right? मतलब this kind of freedom and understanding in a relationship, I think, is utmost important, because ये नहीं होती तो फिर मतलब
FIRE वैसे भी आपका individual हो भी नहीं सकता अगर आप financially is like one of the most important aspect you as a couple or family have. So those two things, if they are in sync with you both are syncing with the financials which you have. That is utmost important. Then only you can even think of firing or other things.
What
This
was the
much-
number that you were aspiring for? कि ये number hit कर जाएगा, then maybe I'll.
So that was a very, very basic number. तब तक इतनी चीजें पता नहीं थी.
Hmm.
पता से I'll say कि expenses can things and different understanding of various other aspects of firing. And I didn't had a son at that point of time. So that basic number was around 2.25 or 2.5 I have. I shift to my hometown because we have a home, house, everything is there. So that would be sufficient for what we want to do in our life. That amount would be sufficient enough. So that was around 2.25.
तो क्या फिर वो number update किया आपने, मतलब let's suppose because that was the number you decided when you, let's say, didn't have your son.
वो number COVID crash के बाद ही achieve हो गया. So we achieved that number just after a COVID crash. So then we updated because then we realized across, so we have an expensive hobby. We want to travel the world. So that's an expensive hobby which we are following. We per se means my wife is too fond of doing that. And I also over a period of time realized that I like traveling and traveling abroad also.
Right.
So that's an expensive hobby. So A, for that, the numbers were upgraded, and B, till that point of time, I was not that keen to leave my job that very particular day. कि number हो गया आज achieve कर लेते हैं. It was more so decided कि कुछ age, like till a certain age I'll continue with my job.
So वो जो number update किया वो number फिर कितना हुआ कि
When I left, it was around 33x
33x of
annual expenses.
If you could also tell us the journey, because you've been able to achieve, let's say, at the age of 36, right? And obviously your wife is also working, so दोनों का ही contribution, right, towards this journey. People would also like to know, like, what has been your growth in terms of your salaries over the period of years. If you could just share us a journey ki, like, at how much did you start, and when you retired, how much were you earning?
Sure. So my journey, I started as a management trainee with Axis Bank. So that time it was around 55 to 60,000 was total salary. That included the PF component also.
Right.
That was my initial salary. And banking is a very low growth.
And this was which year?
2012.
2012, right.
Then from Axis, I moved to City. At around 2015, I moved to Citibank, Jaipur.
And just to add this, if you could just also tell with almost every upgrade, how much money were you saving? Almost.
More than 50%.
So you were saving almost 50% of income right from your first job. Yeah. Right. And that has stayed with you.
50.
Yeah.
It definitely grew. The percentage also grew.
Right.
When I got married as a couple, the percentage also grew.
Okay. So after Axis, where did you join?
I joined Citibank.
And
this was Citibank would be around
9.5 lakhs.
Plus, so Axis has a structure of bonus. City was with incentives. So this was, I'm talking about the fixed part. And then City had a structure of getting quarterly incentives too.
So City was 9.5, and after that, like, where did you go?
Then post City, I joined Piramal Housing Finance. That was in 2019.
2019. And how much was the CTC there?
That time I joined them at around 15 or 16 lakhs.
So, and I think Piramal was the last. So you almost worked there, I believe, till 2022. So what was the last paycheck that you were drawing there? That
was a very bad time for a housing finance industry. So, total 3 years, we got an increment only once. And that was hardly any increment.
Yeah, I can understand.
So that was like around 1.5 lakh more.
Right. So around 17.5.
So that's around 17.
Why did you feel कि यार मैं पहले ही जॉब से अपना 50% सेविंग्स रेट मैंने रखा?
सेविंग्स मतलब देयर वाज नथिंग लाइक, एक तो महंगे शौक नहीं है तो अपने बच जाते हैं. इफ आई टॉक अबाउट यू, इफ यू एज अ कपल, राइट नाउ द रेंटल्स हैव गॉन थ्रू द रूफ. But if I talk about 5 years down the line, if you used to earn 2 lakhs as a couple, just a lump sum figure, 2 lakhs, you are getting credited, and PF got deducted beforehand. A little bit of PF went. 2 lakhs went through. 25,000 is the max rent probably you will pay for a 2 BHK at that point of time. If you want to go in a posh society, yes, definitely you can go and live. Right now, what do you call, the PGs are giving you at 20,000 a room. So that's a separate thing. 25,000 is a rent. Rest, if you spend on eating and mates, 6,000 could be your food and everything. 6,000 would be your mates. If you just segregate them, probably your most of the expenses would be somewhere which can be easily avoided. 55,000 with rent. If you are having like going out only on weekends and those kind of things, and then Zomato was not the culture. So if you can save it that point of time, it is like basic and every normal thing easily possible at 60,000. If you just try to break up your expenses,
Right.
it is very difficult to explain right now that how it can happen. But if you split those expenses that itna hi hota hai, itna hi hota hai, itna hi hota hai, it would be very easy to break.
Right, I think basic needs का ध्यान, I think India is especially one of those countries जहाँ पे even in a middle class or an upper middle class setting, I think you can cover your expenses within 50-60,000 a month.
Yes, the major expenses till today also the major expenses rent.
Until unless आप बहुत aspirational हो, आपको बहुत चीजें ऐसे वो करनी है, then obviously
Aspirational is like going for every new gadget. So we were using a Redmi. That is also for 4 years.
right.
At that point of time where we could have easily afforded an iPhone, not
Right.
even on EMIs. We were having Redmi and we are more than happy with it. There was Piyush Mishra. उनकी एक शायरी है. एक स्टेटमेंट ये शायरी तो बड़ा वर्ड हो गया. हल्की फुल्की सी है जिंदगी, बोझ तो बस ख्वाहिशों का है.
Right.
तो दिस हैज स्टेड विद मी
Right.
कि ख्वाहिशें तो मतलब करते जाओ. ऑब्वियसली यू विल हैव टू. ख्वाहिशें जो होती है वो लिमिट में होनी चाहिए. तो सब चीजें चाहिए तो मतलब अच्छा तो क्यों नहीं लगता, सबको लग सकता है ना. Who doesn't want to have a like go in a fancy restaurant, तो ट्रैवल बिजनेस क्लास कर लो, सारी महंगे गैजेट्स ले लो, सबको अच्छा लगता. पता नहीं अच्छा लगता होता है कि दूसरे के हाथ में देख के अफसोस होता है कि मेरे पास नहीं है.
A lot of people would want to know even your investing journey, right? Because 10 years में to have that 33x का corpus is something that you have surely done some things right, which other people don't, right? If you could just walk through your investing journey entirely, कि कैसे you deployed your funds.
So first thing, 33x is with me and my wife combined.
Right.
I would like to clarify that. And the journey. So from, as I told you, initial first year was towards the FD side. When I had a decent amount of FDs with me, then I started investing into equities through mutual funds only. Until date, it has been more so just mutual funds. There is only a little exposure to equity which I have, which I bought 1 year back. That's all. It has been all about investing into mutual funds because I was not having neither the time to study equities, neither the confidence.
And so mutual funds में जैसे you said you came across one mutual fund distributor. So what did he tell you? Like, because I think he also deserves a lot of credit.
He deserves, like, in this whole journey, he deserves the most of the credit.
Right.
Because had it been like not holding my hand, I would have redeemed like most of the people do in 1 or 2 years. He was holding the hand. That's the very reason I was invested for 10 long years into the equities.
And before, let's say you started your relationship with this particular distributor, did you tell him your goals that, you know, yaar, mere ye goals are investing goals?
No, we didn't discuss any of the goals because that time there were no goals. It was just that we have certain surplus and I wanted to invest in equities, so I wanted to do that.
Apart from mutual funds or let's say equities, did you explore any other asset classes also during this period?
We have certain investment in government bonds. So my debt portfolio is not with debt mutual funds. Neither of is with FDs, but my debt portfolio is not with mutual funds. It's EPF, employee provident funds, and government bonds. This is my debt portfolio.
And how much is, let's say, the allocation in terms of percentage wise mutual funds?
Right now it would be around like 65 equity and the rest is...
If you could, let's say, break it into years, year 1, year 2, what kind of returns were you getting? Ki kaisa XRR tha?
We started in 2013. It was very small amount which was going through. So I was not bothered much about XIRR. That, yes, it is better than FD and we'll have to... That thought was very clear that I have to give certain time for this to grow. We are not much bothered about those XIRR and returns. Yes, it must have been giving that 10, 12 odd percent or 13%, 14%. The only thing which was happening was I definitely had that faith or trust कि ये बढ़ तो जाएगा. That was the confidence which I had that ये बढ़ तो जाएगा. So let's continue the journey. 2015 I got married. And then 2016 we started the portfolio of my wife also with him only. So then 2016 we started, by 17, by 18 the market went bad into mid cap and small cap. So the whole return of mid cap and small cap turned negative during that period. But that negative didn't impacted us much because my portfolio, which was from 2013, that was still positive. For my wife, which started in 2016, that got into a negative territory. But that very faith that the old portfolio which I have is positive, so over a period of time things would turn well because negative to hamesha rehna nahi hai. The returns, and then 2020 crash came. That till that time the returns would have been around 14% XIRR, around that.
Right.
Then 20 came. 20 the complete profits were more so wiped off.
Right. उस time पे क्या feeling थी? मतलब क्योंकि that was I think once in a lifetime situation जो चल रहा था. What was I think तब तो आपके पास goals भी होंगे, right? आपके
गोल्स थे, पैसे थे, तो और लगा दिए.
हाँ,
So I had a surplus that point of time.
right.
I was having funds available in my liquid funds. So I deployed more money into the markets.
Right. So you had confidence कि यार this would even go higher.
So that confidence was there. So I deployed more money into the markets. And then post that, obviously the market has been on a great run. So right now, portfolio, our XIRR for me would be around 21. And for my wife, it would be around 25.5. That's the XRR which we have from 2016 till now for her.
That's
this
great.
is with mutual funds.
How is life, let's say, after retiring early? Because a lot of people have certain notions or they perceive कि ऐसी होगी वैसी होगी. They also plan. And you have already been living this life from past 2 years. What has been your experience?
So life after retirement. So one thing, I have been able to spend more time with my son. We are able to take more vacations, more planned vacations. That's all. And for me, as I told you, I'm doing nothing right now because I don't find anything which would keep me busy rather, and neither I want.
How does, let's say, your parents see this?
My parents have been quite understanding. शुरुआत से जब करियर के जब डिसीजन हुए थे तब से लेके भी, बट जब ये हुआ सो दे वर वेल अवेयर ऑफ माय जॉब पार्ट. एक तो के जॉब में क्या स्ट्रेस है, दे वर अवेयर ऑफ माय कॉर्पस दैट के क्या आपके पास इकट्ठे हो, कितने पैसे हैं, हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू मैनेज अक्रॉस. एक बेसिक कैलकुलेशंस उनको पता थी कि हाँ ऐसे ऐसे तो हो तो सकता है. सो दैट इज व्हाट दे वर अवेयर ऑफ. पेरेंट्स से ज्यादा इट्स ऑल अबाउट शर्मा जी कि वो क्या कहेंगे वाला ज्यादा है कि मतलब सोसाइटी, व्हाट विल द सोसाइटी थिंक ऑफ. दैट्स स्टिल अ क्वेश्चन. वी आर at peace with that. The society क्या कहेगी जी, कुछ भी कहती है.
Anything that you wish to tell to people कि यार during this FIRE journey or financial freedom journey, your any particular message that you want to give to people?
पहला मैसेज ये रहेगा कि जो हम पैसे वो हम किसी से डिस्कस नहीं करते. आप क्या बचा रहे हो, मैं क्या बचा रहा हूँ, हम खर्चे डिस्कस कर लेंगे. पर पैसे बचा कौन रहा है कोई डिस्कस नहीं करता.
Yeah, I think this is बोला आपने अभी बोला तो मुझे स्ट्राइक हुआ कि हाँ ये है ऐसा.
हम खर्चे डिस्कस कर लेंगे. आपने नया फोन खरीदा, आप बताओगे. आपने 5 लाख की एफडी करी, आप शायद किसी को नहीं बताने वाले. बट यू नीड टू फाइंड दैट वन फ्रेंड. नहीं है तो फिर वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर इसीलिए चाहिए हु कैन टेल यू कि क्या बचाया, जिससे आप शेयर कर सको क्या बचाया और कैसे बढ़ा है. क्योंकि वो भी आपको तभी किक देता है. बिकॉज आप जो चीज खरीदते हो वो तो आपको किक दे देती है क्योंकि दूसरे लोग 4 लोग अप्रिशिएट करते हैं. तो आप पैसे डिस्कस करने वाला अपने पास होना चाहिए जिनसे यू कैन प्रोबेबली डिस्कस योर इन्वेस्टमेंट जर्नीज और स्ट्रेटेजीज. पैसे एंड दूसरा, सबकी अपनी रेस है, कोई ज्यादा कमाएगा कोई कम. यू नीड टू बी कंटेंट विद व्हाट यू आर रनिंग. जो आपको चाहिए वो मिल रहा है किसी whatever, like n number of funds available into the market. You invested in one where you got 25% return. I got a 20% return. मैं 1 साल बाद कूद के ये फंड छोड़ के वहां चला जाता हूँ. That should not be the case. वो जो 4-5 फंड है शुरू के, stick to that. Yes, there should be like certain, you should have a certain threshold in your mind. If it beats that, yes, it's fine. You continue with your funds because it's a churning thing. जो आज का टॉपर है वो कल नहीं होगा.
Thank you so much for joining with us today. I think बहुत सारे अच्छे insights मिले हैं I think आज audience को. Hopefully a lot of people would relate to this. Thank you so much for coming. So guys, we hope that you like this podcast and we'll be bringing more such podcasts as well. So please consider subscribing the channel. And if you're someone who has a similar story like Aditya and has any other interesting financial journey to share, we are ready to host you. So you can find link in the description of a Google form wherein you can just, by answering certain questions, our team will reach out to you and we will schedule the podcast soon. Thank you.